E360 TV proudly presents Messages of Inspirational Stories, broadcasting and live streaming to millions of devices around the world, including Roku, and live streaming to Facebook Live. Also on Amazon Fire TV and to Twitch. Also Android TV and Periscope. Broadcasting to Apple TV and YouTube Live. Proudly brought to you by our host, Donna producer and host, Michaela Vidal, host and administrator, and Jim Grant, producer and host. Proudly brought to you by the 6minutewebinar.com.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Messages of Inspirational Stories. So today we're talking about skills for teens and learning how to budget and stick to it. I seem to be missing my partner. Jim, where are you?
Huh? What? You told me it was the National Walk in the Park Day, and since I hadn't, I figured I'd go out and get started on it, but no.
Oh, Jim, what would we do without you?
I tell you, you want me to make a list?
Right? Please do.
Oh, my goodness. You know, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Donna and I are so honored to have you here. We are privileged to bring some great information to you for young people, especially, including teaching teens about money, budgets, and so forth. But before we get started, my goodness gracious, as I said earlier, today, March the 30th, is Take a Walk in the Park Day. This is the day that this is the day it's honored. Take a walk in the park. Oh, my goodness gracious. It's good for you, isn't it, Donna?
It really is. You know, we all need time outside to reground ourselves and get away from the hustle and bustle of our daily life.
Yeah, and get off the internet. I heard a person refer to the internet as the centernet. I said, what are you watching? Now, don't answer that.
Right. Right.
Yeah. I did not realize, Donna, but you told me there were 423 national parks, and that's what it says here. I didn't realize that here in the U.S.
Right. And the thing is, of course, we all know the biggies, Yellowstone, Grand Canyon, Niagara Falls. We know all the big ones. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of smaller national parks that we don't know of.
Evidently hundreds of them, right?
In Jim's case, over 400.
Yeah, 423 national parks in the U.S. My goodness gracious. I knew we had a bunch of them, but I didn't know it was that high. I got to be honest with you. I didn't.
Right,
but,
right.
They say, go ahead.
I was just going to say, so that means, there's probably a park close to every one of us.
Oh, yeah, city parks or whatever. I mean, but going out into the open and walking for several miles, oh my goodness, it's healthy for you. It's good for you. And just get some fresh air. Oh, yeah. Listen to the birds sing, just observe wildlife and, enjoy yourself. Just let the cares of the world go by. My goodness gracious.
Absolutely.
A wonderful thing. Also, we want to give a shout out to doctors. This holiday started back on March the 30th, 1933. And it's the day that we recognize, this is the official day or National Day of Doctors, to recognize doctors, to thank them for all that they do for us. My goodness gracious. I mean, can you imagine going to medical school as many years as they do? Then you have to go through
over 12 years.
Yeah, my goodness gracious. And as dumb as I am, I'd probably still be in there.
Well, it takes a very specific kind of person who has that want and that heart to want to take care of other people and to go to school for that long to to achieve that. That is
Yes.
amazing.
It really is. And, to all the doctors that's, administer to me in my hour of need, just to say thank you seems so inadequate. But, like Donna said, it takes a very caring person that has very special gifts.
Hmm.
And they followed their calling in life to use those gifts. And that's what each and every one of us should do, is to follow our calling in life, to use our gifts to be a blessing to others. That's why we're
Amen.
here.
Amen.
If she says amen one more time, I'm going to start passing a collection plate.
Well, today, Jim, is also World Bipolar Day. And, on the birthday of Dutch painter Vincent van Gogh, one
Oh,
of the most
yeah.
influential artists in history of Western art, his
Mhm.
creativity was paralleled with his mental illness. And
Mm.
he was oh boy, how do you say that?
Posthumously?
Posthumously
Mhm.
diagnosed with bipolar disorder.
Mm.
So it's a bipolar disorder dramatically affects the mood and may result in episodes of depression,
Yeah.
elation, and can affect, of course, one's health, productivity, and relationships.
Sure.
So, that is something that we've all heard about, but
Mhm.
until you know somebody who is bipolar, and
Mhm.
I have somebody very, very, very near and dear to my heart who is bipolar,
Mm.
and that is a incredible struggle to
Yeah.
find that balance. So, if somebody or you work with or is in your family and they're bipolar, one of the best things we can do to support them is to read up on it a little bit so that we
Mhm.
have more understanding and
Mhm.
empathy in what they're going through.
Absolutely, because my goodness gracious, when someone suffers from something like bipolar or any other mental disorder, I mean, bless their heart, they go through a living hell.
They do.
And we need to be very compassionate about those folks. We need to let them know that we love them, we
Be
appreciate them.
supportive.
Yes, absolutely. And let them know they're okay,
Mhm.
because that's something that, that's just the way they are, and it's something that we should, be, like Donna said, very supportive of them and help them any way we can and be patient and loving with them.
Well, and one other thing, and I know from personal experience,
Okay.
when somebody is going through, their depression, in their bipolar, their lows, that is really a time to be able to pour the love into them,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
because that's at a very low time. And of course, that can usually is hand in hand with anxiety, et cetera, et
Hmm.
cetera. So
Hmm.
that's a really good time to pour that love into them.
And a good way to get your mindset is to give thanks that you do not suffer from bipolar disorder. And that will put you in a proper mindset to be thankful and loving and caring and letting them know that, that you appreciate them and you're there for them.
Absolutely.
It's just critical. It really is. And growing up, I knew very, very little about it. I really did. I got to be honest about it. And goodness, it's something that we all need to be aware of and be aware of other physical ailments that people have. Because,
Right.
like I say, just give thanks. If you don't have that disorder, give thanks that you don't have it, because that's critical.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Jim, we have one other really cool day to talk about today.
Okay.
You want to take it away?
Well, I'm just thinking about, do we want to say, oh, I know what you want me to say. And we got two, actually. I'm just going to start out with one that says, today is the National I'm in Control Day. I am in control day. That is imperative.
It
And
is.
also, that means that you're willing to accept responsibility.
Right.
Oh my goodness, that's huge, because accepting responsibility for your mistakes, a lot of times in the past with my life, I've always, didn't want to think about some of the things that I did. And,
Right.
they kind of grind at you and they keep flying up in their mind from time to time. But the best way to handle that is to love yourself and say, I'm just going to forgive myself.
Give yourself grace.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Give yourself grace.
Yeah. And I tell people this all the time. Only the evil one will want to come up. I'm talking about the evil spirit will want to come up and bring that memory of what you did in the past or whatever you said and bring it to the forefront to remind you you were not a good person. Well, you've given yourself grace. You've loved yourself. You've asked for forgiveness and just say, yeah, that's true, but I've been forgiven. Now let's talk about your future.
Right.
He'll run
Absolutely.
from you like a coward because his future is not bright at all.
Right.
That's just the way I handled that anyway.
And
Also,
our last one of the day.
oh, da-da-da-da-da-da.
Right. It is the history of Little Red Wagon Day.
Oh my goodness.
Right. So, we all know about our little red wagons, right? Well, to honor over 100 years of manufacturing, one of the most popular and favorite toys for little kiddos.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the history of it dates back to, ready, Jim? 1917.
That's before I was born.
Which was way before the company was even named Radio Flyer.
Mm-hmm.
And Antonio Passin was the founder of the Radio Flyer. He was a carpenter who made the phonograph cabinets and used a small wagon to store his tools.
Wow.
Right? So that's what caught the eye of people was this little teeny red wagon. So in his newfound company in 1923 was the Liberty Coaster Company.
Right.
And then it was renamed Radio Steel and Manufacturing in 1930 with its advanced version of steel stamped wagons and finally settled on Radio Flyer a few years later.
Oh my goodness gracious. I wonder how they came up with the name Radio Flyer, because if you had a Radio Flyer red wagon, you were a kid growing up. Oh my goodness. That was just, that was just a dream for every kid to have. It really was.
Right. And I shared with Jim, we had talked about this a little bit.
Yeah.
I have the privilege and the honor of having my dad's Radio Flyer. Now, my dad was 89 when he died. And he's been gone for 6 years now? 7 years, coming up 7.
And you figure that thing's at least 85, 90 years old?
It's probably,
yeah.
I think he probably got it when he was maybe 4 or 5. Yeah. So it's old.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, that's a classic too. I mean, my goodness gracious. I don't know what they're worth nowadays. The original ones, like what Donna's got, but my goodness, fully restored, that thing would be worth a little bit of money. It really would.
Well, and they say that sometimes when you restore them, they're not worth as much. So
that can be true.
Yeah. And honestly, it wouldn't matter. If it was worth $20,000, I wouldn't sell it.
I don't blame you a bit. Because
your
your daddy loved that thing enough that he kept it all of his life. And well, I tell you right now, if I kept all the things that I had when I was a kid, if I sold them, my goodness gracious, I'd probably be in Tahiti or somewhere.
This is funny because when I was a little girl, I had an old lady in the shoe, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it was made out of wood, and you opened the little door on the back on the heel of the shoe, and all the kids would come out. And of course, I got rid of it. And how wrong that was to do when they when they don't even make them in plastic.
I think back when I was a kid, all the baseball cards that I had, and you got them in bubble gum packages, nobody knows that. I mean, my goodness gracious, I had, all the major stars. I mean, even the old ones I was able to get. And my goodness, I don't know what happened to those, but, obviously, I wasn't smart enough to hang on to them. But, oh, well.
Lessons learned.
Oh, yeah. Such is life. So if you
Right.
got a red wagon out there, you hang on to that thing. If not, send it to Donna. She'll take it for you.
Right.
She'll give it a good home.
I will. I will.
Oh
So,
my
Jim, I
goodness.
am really excited about this subject. And, and I know I
Mhm.
say that every show,
Yeah.
but I think that this is absolutely critical.
Hmm.
And I think even before our children are teens, it's important for them to understand saving money to the best level at their age that we can.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. When it comes to teens, my goodness gracious. And this also applies to young adults because remember now, even in college and high school or wherever teens get or young people get educated, they don't even teach them how to balance a checkbook.
Right?
So I mean, my goodness gracious, it's amazing. So let's take this thing from the top. We're getting some information here from money and stuff, and talk about making a budget. You got to
Right.
talk with kids and let them know the reason why you need a budget. And let them know that if they got to be disciplined in that budget,
Oh,
because a budget allows them to keep track of their money, their
mhm.
income. Get them to think about even allowances and income. Get them
Right.
thinking in that direction.
Right.
And every time they spend something, that's an expense.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, and it was interesting because in this website, it
Mhm.
says that 64% of teens receive money as gifts,
Yeah.
but 32% get an allowance, and
Mhm.
only 22% of teens have a job.
Wow. Yeah. Isn't that something?
Now, I remember I always wanted to earn a nickel, a dime.
Oh, yeah.
I started raking leaves when I was, shoot, 6 years old.
Mhm.
I had a paper out for
Mhm.
one of the biggest paper outs here in where the town I live in. I had well over 100 people on my route. I was
Mhm.
9.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And
Mhm.
I babysat, and then I went to work as soon as I was old enough to go to work. So, I guess I've been
Mhm.
an entrepreneur pretty much my whole life when you want to
Oh, yeah.
go backwards and look at it.
I bet when Donna was born, she had a broom in one hand and a shovel in the other. Oh, my
That or
goodness.
a cookbook, right?
I hear you. I hear you. It's really important for kids to understand about money because money does matter. And if they do not manage money, money will manage them. That's just the way that comes down to. But I
Right.
like that because 64% of teens get their money as gifts,
Yeah.
and 32% gives an allowance, and 22% have a job. And understanding the benefit of saving money. This is one of the hardest things to get teenagers and young people say, well, we don't have enough left over. We got more month than we got money. Well,
It's funny because I remember when I was still in Ohio
mhm,
and one of the kids' friends came over and she had been married not too long. And she
mhm,
said, we just we're having trouble with rent and all the bills and blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay, sweetie, let's go over your budget.
mhm,
So we went over the budget, okay, rent is X and utilities are X and car is X and all of that. I said, all right, let's talk about your food. How much you spend? Oh, we're real good with that one. Gosh, Donna, we only spend about $100 a month. And I
hmm.
looked at her and raised my eyebrow like this, and I said, okay, let's talk about how much you all eat out. So I said, how often do you eat out? Oh, we eat out probably 3, 4 times a week. I said, okay, you adding that in on your grocery bill? Well,
Mhm.
Donna, that's not a grocery bill. We're eating out. I said, sweetheart, if you put it in your mouth, it's a grocery bill.
Yeah, that's
You
right.
can't separate the two.
I
Now,
knew
if you
when you
want to
said,
have, right, if you want to have an entertainment,
mhm,
that would be like a movie or something like that or what have you. But when you eat out, that becomes a grocery expense.
yes, it does. Yes, it does. And Don, it's amazing because a lot of young people, even old people, they don't really consider, stopping. I mean, they'd be shocked when they walk in a convenience store to get something. Maybe they stop and, get gas. They decide to go and get something. And all those things that they buy, those things add up. And most of the time, they could live without them.
They're non-essential.
Amen.
So
but it's just an impulse buy.
It is. I did this with my son. Gosh darn it, I just don't have any money. I said, okay. I said, here's what I want you to do. I'm trying to save. And he's a young adult at this point. And I said, all right, here's what I want you to do. I want you to sit down with me this weekend and let's go over everything. How many times a week do you buy a Dr. Pepper? How much are they? How many times do you go to Starbucks? How much do you buy a candy bar? How much do you this? How much do you that? I said, now you do that approximately 5 days a week, right? Yeah. So when I got done doing the math, his mouth dropped. It was like over $900 or some ungodly expense for a year's time. And I said, now if you went to the grocery and bought yourself a 12-pack of Dr. Pepper, that would be, $3 more and last you twice as long.
Yeah.
Or whatever the difference was. I don't remember right now. But we don't think about those little things that we buy and how much they add up.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's like when you break a $20 bill, it don't take long for the rest of it to evaporate.
Or if you break a 50, it's even worse. And God forbid you have to break 100.
Oh, don't even talk about that. I don't want to get depressed on this show. But yeah, you're exactly right. And probably the best age to start. Now, if you got teenagers, it's a little bit late, but the best age to start is with kids, teaching them how to save money before they get all this mental baggage in their heads.
Right.
And teach them how, things can add up. Because, it's amazing how, if they save $25 a day, $25 a month, excuse me, that's not even $1 a day.
Right.
Plant that seed in their mind. And in 1 year's time, that is $300. And if they're able to save $50 a month, which is still, it's less than $2 a day, at the end of 1 year, they would have $600. Now, let me take us a little further. On the $25 a month, we know at 1 year, they'd have $300. At 5 years, they'd have $1,500. At 10 years, they'd have $3,000. Obviously, if they double what they saved, those numbers would double.
Yep.
It'd be $600 for the first year, $3,000 for 5 years, and $6,000 for 10 years. And it's important to break it down like that and to categorize their expenses to what is your basic needs.
Right.
This is, how you survive, basic needs. Soda pops and candy bars is not a basic need. I'm sorry, but it isn't,
Well, it's not. And, I've been there, done that. There was a day, a time many, many years ago in my 20s, up until I had children, that I loved to go shopping. I wanted to go to the store and I wanted to buy a little something and I had the money and I could do it. And when I had children, and I was older when I had my first, I was 28. Man, that changed in a New York minute, Jim, because there was no more about Donna.
Right.
It became about my children.
Oh,
and then, 2 years later, I had Gaia, and then another 2 years, 2.5, 3 years later, I had Tiana. And so there was no buying for me, hardly at all.
Oh, yeah.
But my point is that you have to truly look at what is a need and what is a want. The need was now for my children. There was no real huge need for me. Making sure that they were taken care of was everything.
Oh, yeah. because that just comes right out of the mother naturally. I mean, I remember the adjustments that just happened overnight, instantaneously when Lisa was born,
Right.
and the way, Evelyn's thinking and the way things were in the house. Baby took priority one. I was somewhere down around priority 29, I think, or somewhere. But I understood that, and I
Mhm.
respected that, because when it comes to money, in 2020, for example, the average teen spent $2,150 across a range of categories like food, clothing, and entertainment.
Right.
And that broke down on this particular study that 23% of the money that they spent was for basic needs. 40% was for fashion and personal care.
Mm-hmm.
And 37% was on fun and social.
Right.
So 77% of their money was on fashion and personal care. Well, personal care is important. I understand that. And, fashion, well, kids think they put it much more higher than I do.
Right.
Fun and social was, made up the other part of it, 37%, but only 23%, 23 pennies out of every dollar went for their basic needs.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. That kind of shocked me when I saw that. I don't know about when you saw it.
Yeah, it is shocking. And here's, my years of wisdom and knowledge on that one, and having, too much month at the end of the money, raising 3 children,
Oh, yeah.
right? So that I learned real quick how to budget my money. My bills came first, and it wasn't always easy. Sometimes I had to pay a bill or two late, just the way it was.
Yeah.
But you make it work. And
Mhm.
then as I was able, a little older and able to get more on my feet, in paying yourself first
Oh, yeah.
is the number one most important thing you can do. Pay
Mhm.
yourself first. So I have 2 savings accounts. And I make sure one account is always funded for house needs,
Mhm.
right? Taxes, something breaks, something has to be repaired. I feel that that's important, because when you
Mhm.
don't, right, that's when everything happens and you have no money to fix it.
Yeah, for some reason, that's the way that work. If you're out of money by the 20th of the month, usually it's the 23rd, something's going to break or
Right,
something.
something major.
Yeah, yeah, you're exactly right. And I love what you said there, Donna, because a lot of young people, kids, even adults, don't even think about paying themselves first, and that's
Mhm.
putting money away into a savings account.
Right,
Paying yourself first, and plant the seed in their mind. You're worthy. You're
right.
worth something. Because I remember one time when we had, we were, young, and we were making, fairly decent money, you might say. We weren't rich or anything like that, far from it. But, one time I complained to Evelyn. I says, feel like I'm working for Monkey Wards, or Montgomery Wards. We used to call it Monkey Wards. I'm working for Sears. I'm working for this and that. And Ellen says, well, if you quit charging things over there, you wouldn't be working for them. So the chickens came home to roost, and I'll admit I was guilty as charged. I'm not
Right.
going to lie about it. And I said, you know what? You're right. So we made up a plan to pay off everything. We did. And I still think about that sometimes, because I was complaining about, I feel like I'm working for Monkey Wards and Sears and everybody else. And
Funny.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
And
she
then
took the slack out of your chain, didn't she?
she yanked it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, more like a jerk.
Yeah. 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 You're the problem, and you're complaining to me. So what's your problem?
Right, right. Well, and it's interesting because, when you need new tires for your car,
Yes. Mhm.
right? I mean, I don't care if you've got a little car anymore, Jim. It's going to be $500 or more.
Oh, yeah. Last time I put tires on my truck with the rims I got on there and all. It was just under $1,400 with everything that you get, the roadside assist, the
Right.
tire replacement and all that stuff, rotate every 5,000 miles and all that stuff. Cause I want everything on there.
Right.
Because,
Right. I get the same thing. And my
yeah.
little car
Oh, yeah.
is over $500. I think it
Oh,
was
yeah.
560
Oh, yeah.
or something like that.
Oh yeah. I guess they see me come and say, hey, here comes a guy. He's good for at least $1,400.
Right. But yeah, and I think so, not only paying yourself first,
Yes.
but
Yes.
understanding truly where we spend our money.
Oh yeah. My goodness gracious.
Because it is one of the worst feelings to have too much month at the end of the money.
It creates more arguments and stress with
Oh, the
couples.
stress.
Oh yeah.
Right. And so, as adults, there are things that we can do. We can adjust. And I've done that. I talked about that on a show.
Mhm.
When I moved back here, I had the pool service and I had this and that. And I one day took a hard look at my little financial world, right? Nothing fancy, but it is
Mhm.
mine.
Mhm.
I got rid of the pool service. I changed some things around on cable, et cetera, just all kinds of things. Sometimes we overinsure our cars.
Oh yeah.
So if we overinsure our cars, it may only be 10, 15, 20 bucks a month, but dang, at the end of the year, that really adds up.
Mhm. Yeah. All the little things like that add up.
Right. So by the time, and I'm not one to stop for a coffee or anything, but by the time I got done adjusting my budget, I ended up saving over $3,000 a year.
Oh yeah. When I travel on the road, I have a cooler in the back, and I get bottled water and put in there, and
Snackies and
Oh yeah, because it's a lot. Plus the fact when you do that in proper planning, not only do you save money, but you can eat what you want to eat on the road and not be dependent on some convenience store that may not have what you're looking for, and you got to
Right.
settle for second best.
Yep, absolutely. And it's a lot cheaper buying it at the grocery store than a convenience store. We all know that.
Oh yeah, sure, absolutely. And Donna, one of the things that this kind of surprised me a little bit that teenagers, they have 8% of the U.S. parents have children with credit cards. I didn't realize it was that high. Pardon me for living in a naive world or something, but my goodness gracious.
Right.
They got credit cards and all that. I mean, if they'd had credit cards back when I was young and my parents gave me one, I'd probably still be paying that sucker off.
Right. Yeah.
It's
And
dangerous.
there are some children, of course, who are uber responsible.
Yes. Yes.
And there's a specific reason why they need to have a credit card.
Yes.
But a lot of times that we feel like we're helping our children. So we give them a credit card and we're paying it.
Oh yeah.
There's no responsibility in that.
Not at all.
Right. So there's no connection to what, I just went to the mall and spent $200 and mom or dad's got to pay for it. There's no connection that's comes out of somewhere.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. You're so correct. Because that's just like if someone's in a financial bind and they're wanting you to help them get out of debt. The worst, I know this is going to sound horrible, but listen, the worst thing you can do is pay their bill for them. And I'll tell you why. They did not get a chance to work their way out of that situation, and they got robbed of their dignity and pride. Not a puffed up pride, but a pride that I did it.
Right.
Now, the thing you can do is talk to the people they owe money to if you want to and say, I'm working with this person. We're going to make sure that we work together to make sure you get paid, and we want to work with you. And, I'll guarantee you approach it like that, they'll work with you. The loan officers will, because they understand that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And they appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Think about the credibility that individual builds with that one creditor by having that kind of an attitude.
Well, and also that the respect the creditor has and the respect for the person with the debt has for themselves.
Yes, yes, that's critical because
It is critical.
self-respect is very critical.
Hmm.
And talking about, the kids, the average, of course, this is back in 2020, better money habits, but the average debt on a credit card for people age 20 was $2,319. My goodness. And you got to think long term. You got to, teach your kids how to think long term. That's
Oh,
critical.
it is.
Mhm.
If they start saving their own money and teach them to better accomplish the goals for themselves, that's what it's all about, right?
Mhm.
So this is interesting. This is what teens think. 35% think that they'll have $100,000 saved by age 30.
Wow.
Okay.
Mhm.
43% plan to pay off a student loan by age 30.
Mhm.
And 66% believe they'll own a home by age 30.
Wow.
Now, owning the home and having a home that you are purchasing through the bank are two different things.
That's right.
Okay. When you own your home, you don't have to make a mortgage payment, right? You
That's right.
still have the upkeep and you have your mortgage insurance and your taxes and all those good fun things that come with being a homeowner.
Mhm.
In my case, a little renovation.
Mhm.
Okay, a lot of renovation.
Yeah. In my
But
case, you're still going to have taxes and stuff like
right,
that,
yeah,
but
yeah, so that's why I have a savings account I set aside
mhm.
just for that kind of thing. But
Mhm.
here's the thing, when teenagers, and we've all been there, right, Jim?
Mhm.
Teenagers think 30 is like 80 or
Oh,
90 in
yeah.
age. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, it's so far away. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll be fine by then. Man,
Yeah.
life happens in a blink.
Oh, yeah.
It happens in a blink.
Mhm.
And so, yes, there's a few who are
Mhm.
going to be able to achieve these
Mhm.
goals, but
But
very few.
yeah, not many,
Yeah.
not many. But see, that's a false hope.
Hmm.
They put that false hope in their mind. They feel good and they can just go on and they don't have any reason to adhere to a budget because they think somewhere down the road in some abracadabra way, all of this is going to come together because they think it.
Right.
And that's not the way the world turns. We that us us folks that have gray hair, we know better than that.
Well, you have to have a plan.
Yes, ma'am.
And so, if that's what your child, this is what I would recommend. If that is
Mhm.
what your child is dead set on, that's great.
Mhm.
Take them to a financial planner
Amen.
because a financial planner will have all the be able to do the forecasting of, it takes this much at your age to get here, et cetera, et cetera. But they also have that credibility because they're not mom and dad.
Mhm. Right, right, right. It's amazing too, Donna, when you're starting out with budging and things like that, you got to have them to understand that the first rule of budgeting is to spend less than you earn.
Amen.
Because a lot of,
Amen.
I know a lot of people, even adults, they'll see something on sale. They got to buy it, even though they're living above their means. They'll charge it because it's on sale. And the credit card interest takes it way up higher than that, because they
Right.
can't pay it off on time.
Right.
And
And
go ahead.
here's the other thing, like when I go grocery shopping, now when my children were at home,
Mhm.
I had a big grocery bill. I mean, a big grocery bill. I not only fed them, but I fed all their friends. And
Oh,
that was
mercy.
fine with me. I'm
Mm.
I'm one of those women who believe that I'd rather have a grocery bill than a doctor bill.
Mhm. Oh, yeah.
And so having my children fed is the number one most important thing to me, and a home, because if you don't have enough to eat, you can't think, you can't do good in school, the list is endless, right?
Mhm.
But now that it's just like my husband and I stock up on a few things. I do.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
stock up on a few things. But what I stock up on is very small compared to yesteryear,
Mhm.
right? So it just means that Like I might buy a few more things to make for tacos than have two meals to make tacos with, that kind of thing. If there's a really great sale on meat, I might buy some extra meat. But I don't stock a whole lot. I do stock some. But that's the other thing. If you overstock in what you buy, right, then you're wasting your money. And I remember my mom telling me this when I was a teenager, because, I wanted all the pretty earrings and I wanted all the cool clothes and I wanted this. And she looked at me and she was so funny. God love her. She'd look at me. She'd say, well, child, how many damn pair of earrings can you wear at one time?
That's really amazing. And break it down into dollars and cents for kids.
Right.
For example.
And that's what she did. She made me go, what? What are you talking about, Mom? And then that's what she did. She broke it down. She said, you've got 2 ears, honey. How many can you wear at one time?
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Exactly. And, you break it down for kids, if they earn $150 a month, just say, as an example, from working somewhere, part-time, whatever. And let's say they earn an extra $50 around the house for doing chores, because my dad was a firm believer, you did not get an allowance because you were entitled to it. You earned it. And I'm glad he thought like that. And let's say you get, you get it from your birthday, or get it as a gift from birthday or Christmas or whatever. So you got $200, okay? And $200 a month coming in from whatever source it is. And you want to determine your income by structuring your budget. You estimate all income and money, including, the salary from a job, the allowance from the parents, birthday money, whatever you're coming in, okay? And it's going to fluctuate some. And then you estimate your required expenses.
Yes. What's
required, And this is where kids have a problem. And a lot of young adults and even grown adults have a problem. Will think, well, I got to buy, new clothes. I got to do this. I got to do that. That's a required expense. Well, clothing is a required expense, but
not in excess.
Yeah. My son works for a boot barn. He told his mother, there is a lady that works there. She has 400 pairs of boots.
That's a whole room full.
Oh my goodness gracious. Yeah. I mean, it just, I guess it's safe to say she loves boots.
I guess it is safe to say.
But I mean, even if she wore, a pair of boots a day, she's got more than a year's worth of boots to wear.
Exactly.
And, so everybody has things that they want to have that they could do without. I don't care who you are. This is where discipline comes in. This is where being true to yourself, also making a commitment to your budget. Because if you're not sincere, you might as well forget about a budget. It's not going to work.
Right. And it's, and understanding the back end of it for emergencies.
Oh,
so, back when I first got my car, my dad gave me money for a down payment. He co-signed the loan for me. I made the payments. I had my own insurance. I took care of my gas and I took care of my maintenance. He said, you don't take care of it, the damn car sits, Donna.
Yeah. When I was in high school, my 11th and 12th year, I went to school. I had enough credits to go to school, and just a half a day, from 8:30 to 12:30, and the rest of the time off, I started working in a cotton mill, the Esther Mill there in Shelby, under the Dover Group way back in the 60s, and I was making. It was about $1.75 an hour.
You were walking and buy cotton, weren't you?
Well, you don't know the rest of the story. I'm going to tell you that in a moment. I had this is a car I'd love to have. Oh my God. I had a 1964 Ford Galaxy 500 Fastback.
I know the car.
Oh yeah, that's a sweet car. And a friend of mine got me on a Carolina Freight. I went from I started $1.65, went to $1.75, and that's where I was at. And I started at Carolina Freight at $3.08 an hour. Now, I tell you right now, that was that was a tremendous increase.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you got to remember now, back in those days, gasoline was like about 28 cents a gallon.
Mm-hmm.
So you're making $3.08. So you figure, how much gallon costs a day, and you figure you're making how much that is an hour. I mean, that's the equivalent, because people talk about inflation. It's not prices going up; it's the buying power of the dollar on the world market going down, down, down.
Yeah.
And so I mean, and I could have done a better job of managing my money if I was smart. But I treated myself. Hey, I'm worthy of this. I can, I can get some things from my car, and I can do this and I can do that. And well, you can, but you know what?
Comes with the price.
That's right. It takes the slack out of the chain.
Mm-hmm.
But it's amazing, because you got to talk to kids in realistic terms. What is your frivolous spending? You may not want to use frivolous. Some people might want to say your discretionary spending, which is shopping, pizza, video games. See,
Whatever it is.
Yeah. See, a kid can live without playing video games or eating pizza or something like that. Going to the places and eating out and all. But that's a lifestyle. But it comes to, what is it in life that you want? How committed are you? That's what you're looking for, is commitment and maturity.
Well, and there's one other thing that I think is really important to bring up, Jim.
Oh, okay.
When we don't sit down and have that talk with our children.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Susie, you make $300 a month, and at the end of the month, you've got $5 left.
Mm-hmm.
You are conditioning. If you don't talk to them and have this deep talk about how finances truly work, you are now letting them be conditioning themselves to dig a huge hole when they get older.
Amen. It's a good idea. Just go down to the, like the dollar store or something like that, and just get a simple notebook pen, and that already have lines in them and all that, and just put down, the different entries of income, expenses, and so on and so forth. And just like keeping record of the checking account.
Right.
And that way they can see facts and figures.
Right.
And it's
That's
important.
what I did with my son.
Mm-hmm.
And it made a big difference. And even bigger is if you have them write it yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Because now they see, well, Mom, I know probably every parent out there has heard this.
Mm-hmm.
Mom, I didn't spend that much money. Then why are you asking me for $20? Mm-hmm. Right? But when they see what they've actually done,
yes,
fine, spend all the money you want, and let's talk about it next month. But you have to keep track of it. And they do that, and then they keep track of it.
Mm-hmm.
Then now that they are really seeing, wow, I made this much and I spent this much, and now I only have this much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, because in their expenses, list everything there from, their car payments or whatever they have, car insurance, gasoline, clothes, shopping, entertainment, movies, all that stuff. List everything there and have them make notes to keep track of that, because this is very important, because then they can see they are the ones that's responsible for that.
And only they have control of it.
That's right. That's right. And when it comes to budgeting tips here, there's 6 tips here I want to give out real quickly. This was brought on by the Bank of America here. Help your child determine his income, because a lot of times, they don't really understand, about income. They get money, they spend money. They don't really connect the dots there. And they talk about, how to work with teenagers and pre-teenagers. That's a good. That's the best place to start is in the younger mind there because they don't have all that stuff in their head. What a
Right.
regular income is, and what does a paycheck mean to them from their
Hmm.
jobs and allowances, and calculate with them the required expenses. What do you really have to buy each and every month? And point out to them that you don't have to pay rent, you don't have to buy groceries, you don't have to pay for insurance and things of these nature because that comes with living with mom and dad or with the single parent.
Right.
And just do a little math and just spell it out to them because it's kind of like the old saying, Donna, liars figure, but figures do not lie.
Right.
And then you talk about the fun stuff once you're covered necessary expenses. What are some of the things that you want to? Now they recommend what's left over goes into your savings account, and we do not recommend that. Donna and I recommend for the kid to learn to pay themselves first because they're worthy.
Right.
That's a mindset you want to get into their little minds there because it's amazing how that will help everything else fall into place. Because if they're committed to paying themselves first, because that's what's in it for them,
Right.
they'll buy onto that.
Hmm.
Yeah, because
Absolutely.
you're talking about teenagers buying in for themselves. Yeah, sign me
Right.
up.
And we've heard, I know some of the kids that were my kids' friends.
Mhm.
I saw one recently, I think it was their little sister or something on Facebook, was like 22 years old and bought her first home.
Wow, that's amazing.
That is dedication.
Mhm.
That is self-respect. And that is self-control.
Mm. Think about how she feels about her integrity and her,
Right.
about her being a winner in life. Let's
Mm.
call it what it is, and give her credit for that because man, that is huge. It really is.
That is huge. That is
And
absolutely huge.
see if there's anything else here. Of course, to balance the budget is teaching them, how to balance their budget. That's critical because remember now, even in school, they don't teach you how to balance a checkbook, and
Right.
everybody thinks that's academic, but it's not. I actually knew a person that would, remember the old days you call the bank and see what your banking account is and all that, because they just didn't really realize how everything worked. They may have mailed a
Right.
check over here. They may have wrote a check there. This is back before they had the automation and everything.
And
And
before
figure,
carbon copies.
oh yeah. And I figure, well, if you got that kind of money, okay, I can go out and spend some more.
I still got checks.
Yeah, that's right. And of course, the standard joke was that the bank is complaining to the wife about, that she's overdrawn. She said, well, you're the ones that give me the checks. They should be good. But Donna, our time is gone. This hour has
It
flown
is.
by. My goodness gracious.
But Jim and I really hope that for you watching out there, that this
Mhm.
has given some insight on
Yeah.
things to maybe your teens are coming up to
Mhm.
talk to them about.
Oh, yeah.
Because we as parents, as grown-ups, want our next generation to do better than we did,
Oh,
to
yeah.
learn from what we went through in our struggles and
Mm.
apply the things that work,
Mhm.
right? That we know that works and learn from those struggles. So we really, really hope that you found the value in this because we have really, really enjoyed putting this show on for you today.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's been our pleasure to do that because Donna and I, we always realize that the message is what's important on our show. We just happen to be the two voice boxes that deliver the message, and that's basically it. And
Mhm.
people asked us, how we do some of the things we do, and well, the big thing is take yourself out of the picture,
Right.
and that's very important. And we always like to close a show by saying, be sure and love yourself first, and then you can love others. Most importantly, Donna and I, we hope and we pray that you and your loved ones, including your fur babies, okay, we're all pet lovers here. We hope that you're healthy, you're happy, you have a safe home, a secure home that's filled with love and blessings. And, if it's your birthday, bless you. Happy birthday to you. Enjoy your day and make sure everybody waits on you. Okay. It doesn't work for me, but at least you can try.
Right.
But Donna, we've had a lot of fun today. We also shared some information, and some of the things that we shared today, I wished I would have been taught, early on.
I was taught a lot. I just didn't listen.
I probably wouldn't have listened either. I'll be honest. My parents already knew. Ain't no need to talk to him. Huh? Shoot.
Right.
That's a lost cause.
But we will be back with tomorrow's show. So same time, same station. We hope and look forward to you joining us.
Except Donna may be over here and I may be over anyway.
We'll switch it around.
Is that right? Okay. All right. By the way, you keep mentioning food. What's for supper tonight?
Oh, tonight is simple. Tonight's just hot dogs. Last night
hot dogs?
Yeah, last night was Swiss steak and mashed potatoes.
Okay. Well, hot dogs
And they were
tonight,
amazing. It was all amazing.
Were you serious about when the friends come over and your kids' friends and all those friends and your TV friends come over?
Your TV friends. I love it. I love it.
Hey, you got to ask,
I know it. You do. It might be a bit of a drive for you, brother.
That's okay. That's okay. I'll put it in overdrive and hammer down.
There you go. We'll see you tomorrow, folks.
You bet.
Bye-bye. Have a beautiful evening.
You bet.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.